What are the signs of the return of the Messiah? Part 1 of 3. What I'm about to present is first and under all is the worldly foundations of the counterfeit ethereal artificial worlds. It is the digitalized Antichrist beast system that is being built today. Secondly, the order in which end times will unfold based on the behavior and spirit of mankind during these times will build on this false foundation, as these are the signs of the season we are instructed to watch for. You may have heard the good news, which in Hebrew is the gospel of Yeshua, the Messiah, who is also called Jesus the Christ to the Latin Western world order. With that, I present this as the first sign of many. It is God split up the inhabitants of our world in languages which seem to be a divide at Israel. As we know, God above commands the languages and ethnicities. Therefore, we see that the Eastern world follows a different dialect than the Western world languages, which are based on Latin. This is described in Genesis 11. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Genesis 11:6-9, NIV. This is the first sign that we see. Global convergence and the reversing of God's scattering was to confuse the common language for which the globalists of today are working to build its own digital version of the Tower of Babel. They're using artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things to break God-ordained sovereign borders, patriarchal cultures, and languages. The United Nations New World Order is rooted and based on pagan New Ageism, the age of the Aquarius, or a polar shift to a godless matriarchal global order. It is not Christian by any stretch of the imagination. The contention is it follows earth worship principles and not wise stewardship, which God ordained in Genesis. I see that artificial intelligence is the top contender to the breath of the beast that animates still images and statues and brings them to life per Revelation 13, as we see it has already begun. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. Revelation 13:15, NIV. This is another sign of the times as we see a global convergence today. Before digital technology, none of these things were possible. Digital worlds are man-made counterfeit expansions of virtual reality that hijack God's purpose and will. Now, this is simply the conditions of the world stage that the rest of the signs will rise. The building of the third temple is a major prophetic milestone and a signpost of our trajectory. Please check into the Temple Institute and see the Pharisee is very much alive today and working to train the temple priests and preparing for consecrating the altar and tools and priests. The red heifers have been brought in, which is said to be the source and reason for the October 7 atrocity. Islam also maintains a mosque where the temple once stood 2,000 years ago. A third temple on earth will be built for a false god, as we know that God created the true third temple in our hearts. And that is the internal altar that we may pray to God, as Jesus tore the curtain, which is his body. Jesus lifted the veil between us and heaven. There are no more worldly temples for God's new covenant before man. This is a sign to be concerned with, as a third holy place for the false god will need to be built and the mosque removed, as the second temple was destroyed, as Jesus explained in Matthew 24, before these things will happen. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. And let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Matthew 24:15-19, NIV. Another prophetic milestone. The standing global order uses the swift global trade banking system. This is a major contender for the described mystery Babylon harlot that rides on the back of the beast. Also see Revelation 17-18, the fall of Babylon. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." Revelation 17:1-2 NIV. Today's contention against the Babylonian world order based on the US dollar, as well as the push for its fall by BRICS Plus, will cause the US economy to tumble as it currently is. Today the report says USA global GDP is down 30% and is a source of tariffs to counter the loss as nations move away from the dollar to a BRICS Plus alternative with gold-backed cryptocurrencies. The writing appears to be on the wall, figuratively speaking. Then the angel said to me, "The waters you saw, where the prostitute sits, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. They will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire, for God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose by agreeing to hand over to the beast their royal authority until God's words are fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth." Revelation 17:15-18 NIV. What is this great city? Dare I speculate, as it is still a mystery to me today, I can guess that it is New York City, as it holds the headquarters of the United Nations as well as the New York Stock Exchange, which is the core of central banking and global trade. However, then I heard another voice from heaven say, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. For her sins are piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Give back to her as she has given. Pay her back double for what she has done. Pour her a double portion from her own cup. Give her as much torment and grief as the glory and luxury she gave herself. In her heart she boasts, 'I sit enthroned as queen. I am not a widow. I will never mourn. Therefore, in one day her plagues will overtake her. Death, mourning, and famine. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is the Lord God who judges her." Revelation 18:4-8 NIV. Do not take the mark of the beast. Do not inject technology into your body, and do not connect your body to this beast system. Thus, we can see the global stage and foundation is set for the Olivet Discourse, which, if you do not know, is the moment when Yeshua explained the order of end times in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21. These are eyewitness testimonies from 3 of the 12 apostles found in the gospel message for the world and for what Jesus said. The apostle John was taken in spirit and shown a heavenly account. All 4 are the accounting of the order of end times for Jesus. As we also learned, there are multiple accounts of the order of end times that diverge from what Jesus taught. Who do we listen to then? There can only be one truth. This is the end of part 1 of 3. Please, and I encourage you to continue to video 2, titled "Seals and the Olivet Discourse. Birthing pains are one and the same." As the beast system raises its head, these passages define the order in which the last days will unfold until Jesus returns. Thank you.